Discover the incredible moment when my hidden note exposed my sister's heartless plan at the bank. The leaves of maplewood were turning shades of gold and crimson, and the air smelled of cinnamon and baked apples. It was the kind of autumn afternoon that made you want to curl up with a cup of cider. But for Alex, the scent only reminded her of the weight she carried. As a devoted single mother, she worked 2 jobs to give her daughter, Lily, a life filled with love and opportunities. However, little did she know that hidden among her late grandmother's belongings lay something that would unearth a family conflict even more bitter than the chilled air. While rummaging through the old wooden box, smoothing her fingers over the elegantly carved edges, Alex found an old, yellowed note that sent a shiver down her spine. It was a piece of parchment that contained financial secrets about her family's joint bank account and veiled hints of her sister Rachel plotting to cash in on their grandmother's inheritance. Alex's heart sank. How could Rachel even think of doing this? It felt like betrayal, a piercing wound through the bond they had shared as sisters. With her chest tightening, Alex confronted Rachel that evening. Easy laughter turned to icy silence at the diner where they so often found comfort. How could you even consider this, Rachel? Alex's voice trembled, her eyes brimming with tears of frustration. Rachel, arms crossed defensively, shot back, "You don't understand. This is my chance to stand on my own, to break free from the shadow of this family." Their words bounced around like echoes in an empty room, fueled by resentment and hurt. Just then, in the dingy corner of the bank where they stood, a weathered veteran who had been silently observing them leaned forward. His voice, gravelly yet warm, filled the air with tales of his own family's struggles, loss, grief, and the undying hope for redemption. "Family's everything," he said, eyes glistening with memories, "but it takes more than blood to make it work. Sometimes, you have to forgive." The sincerity behind his words wrapped around both sisters, momentarily lifting their hostility like a thick fog clearing. "Why can't you see?" Alex whispered, feeling a tear slip down her cheek. "I just want us to be together, to build what Grandma dreamed of." As Alex spoke, Rachel clutched the note tightly in her palm, a flicker of vulnerability sparking in her eyes so rarely seen. Before the emotions could spiral back into anger, Alex realized they were standing at a crossroads. Would the weight of this note, a mere scrap of paper, truly define their future? It was a chance for reconciliation or a step toward irrevocable division. The air was thick and heavy as they both stared at the note, intertwining the past with a possible future. A silence fell over them, a shared understanding that remained unspoken. Amidst the haunting echoes of their differing values and dreams, one question loomed large: would love conquer the shadows of betrayal, or would the thin thread of financial gain unravel the very fabric of their family? The door to their future lay ajar, revealing the uncertain path ahead. The silence lingered, stretching as thick as the clouds overhead. Alex felt the weight of Rachel's stare, a mix of anger and confusion swirling in the air between them. The old note slipped slightly from Rachel's fingers as she wrestled with her emotions. Alex took a small step closer, her heart racing. She could sense the fragile line they were balancing, on one side filled with resentment, the other offering a path to understanding. "Rach, think about it," Alex implored, her voice soft but urgent. "This is not just about money. It's about our family, our history. We can't let this tear us apart." Each word dug at the scar tissue already forming in their relationship, but Alex couldn't hold back. She had watched Rachel struggle, trying to find her place in the world, but this felt like a betrayal of their entire childhood. Rachel's face contorted with pain, and for a moment, Alex thought she might see a spark of regret. Instead, Rachel's resolve seemed to harden. "You're just as tied to this family as I am," she snapped back, her voice rising above the low din of the diner. "You think I don't want what Grandma wanted? I've worked so hard, Alex. It's like I'm screaming into a void and no one listens. This inheritance could change everything for me." "Change everything? Or just create more distance between us?" Alex countered, her eyes pleading for understanding. At that moment, the veteran's voice echoed in Alex's mind. "Sometimes, you have to forgive. As memories of laughter-filled summers and late-night talks swept over her, Alex felt a flicker of hope. We can still be that family, Ratch. We can grow and change together, but it starts with trust. Rachel's defensive posture faltered just a bit, but she quickly masked it behind layers of frustration. Trust? You think this note will magically fix everything? It just feels like another chain tying me down. Maybe it's a reminder of how we can rise together instead. Alex hesitated, then took a deeper breath. Let us talk to each other, really talk. Before things get even worse. Rachel's shoulders slumped, and for the briefest moment, their eyes met, two sisters caught in a storm that could either destroy them or lead them to brighter shores. The cozy diner buzzed around them, but in their shared silence, the rest of the world faded. It wasn't just about the inheritance, the note, or even money. It was about their future, about the family legacy they could build or break. What could forgiveness look like? Could they redefine their bond on more than just shared blood? Suddenly, a loud crash jolted them both, followed by the frantic voice of a waitress yelling for help. The distraction pulled them back to reality as shouts and the clatter of dishes filled the diner. Rachel looked reluctant to pull away from the moment. Maybe we can talk later? She offered cautiously. Maybe we have to, Alex replied, feeling an unexpected pang of understanding. As the chaos continued around them, both sisters stood torn between family loyalty and personal dreams. In that moment of uncertainty, Alex knew the path that lay ahead could either bind them closer together or pull them further apart. With one last lingering glance at the note, Alex's heart ached with the tension of unresolved feelings, but would they find the courage to face the deeper wounds between them, or would the turmoil of their past swallow them whole? The clamor of the diner swirled around them as Rachel turned away, her expression momentarily softened before hardening once more. The sound of shattering glass still echoed in Alex's ears, but it was now drowned out by the turmoil inside her. Confusion twisted into a knot in her stomach. How had things reached this point? Taking a step back, Alex felt the coolness of the linoleum floor beneath her sandals, grounding her in the chaos. She wanted to scream for the waitress to stop, to rewind time, to take back the words that lingered like acid in the air. But there was no going back, only the uneasy present. Rachel had slipped into her mind, burdened with dreams and expectations that Alex hardly understood. All she could see was the familiar bond, the childhood memories woven tightly together, their grandmother's laughter, summer road trips, moments of joy that seemed distant now. The distance felt insurmountable, as did the chasm that opened wider with each heartbeat. Alex? Rachel's voice cut through the noise, laden with desperation. It took a moment for Alex to respond, her mind still swirling with the intensity of their earlier exchange. I'm here, she said quietly, forcing herself to meet Rachel's gaze. Maybe we should talk about the note, Rachel suggested, her voice trembling slightly. The defiance seemed to waver, making way for vulnerability. What do you want me to say? Alex asked, her breath hitching as she tried to navigate her sister's shifting emotions. I didn't mean to hurt you, Rachel admitted, biting her lip. But I feel so lost. I thought if I could secure our future, maybe I wouldn't feel so empty. The admission hung in the air, raw and exposed. Alex's heart softened, feeling the burden of Rachel's words wash over her. You have to know that it's not just about the money for me. It's about us, Rachel. Do you really think we can just forget everything? Rachel asked, almost pleading. The vulnerability was there, peeking through her earlier bravado. No, I don't think we can just forget, Alex replied, her voice steady, but I do think we can try to understand. We've been playing this tug-of-war over our lives, and it's exhausting. Rachel nodded, tears glinting in her eyes. I just wanted to make something of myself. Like Grandma. And now, her voice cracked. It feels like it's slipping through my fingers. The pain both sisters felt bubbled to the surface, the distance between them narrowing just a fraction. Alex reached out, hesitating before placing her hand on Rachel's arm, the warmth of fragile bridge between past anger and present understanding. What if we stop fighting each other? We can find a way to honor Grandma's dreams together. The momentary spark of connection felt electric, but doubt lingered. What if we fail? Rachel whispered, her voice thick with emotion. What if we tear this family apart even more? The question dug deep, and Alex felt herself falter. What could they truly build together if the foundation was already shaky? Yet, there was a flicker of hope wishing to break free. We won't know unless we try, she replied, her heart racing with both fear and determination. Just as the atmosphere around them began to shift, a commotion erupted again. The brown-haired waitress from earlier rushed by, tending to the scattered glass shards on the floor, oblivious to the emotional storm brewing within the two sisters. Silent agreement formed between Alex and Rachel, a pact to step back from the brink. But, as the familiar sounds of the diner returned, the shadows of their past loomed large. The journey to healing was still uncertain, fraught with layers of history waiting to be peeled back. Let's grab coffee tomorrow? Rachel suggested, a hint of hope in her voice. Okay, Alex replied, though a mix of anxious anticipation and dread danced in her chest. They may have found a foothold on the precipice of reconciliation, but could they really traverse the difficult paths ahead without taking a leap into the unknown? What would it take to truly heal, to dismantle the walls that had risen between them like ivy, growing steadily over years of hurt? The following day dawned with a heavy sky, clouded and gray, matching the uncertainty brewing in Alex's heart. She had spent the night tossing and turning, wrestling with her thoughts. The promise of coffee with Rachel felt like a fragile truce, one that could shatter at any moment. As she stepped out of her apartment and into the cool morning air, Alex could feel the weight of what lay ahead. The diner was quieter now, the hum of conversation muted compared to the previous day. Alex slid into a booth, a familiar sense of nostalgia washing over her. This was their place where they shared countless milkshakes and fries as girls, a sanctuary before life grew messy. Rachel arrived shortly after, her arrival punctuated by a gust of wind that swirled leaves around her ankles. She looked uncertain as she approached, eyes shadowed by last night's conversation. Hey, Rachel said softly, sliding into the booth across from Alex. Hey, was all Alex managed to reply. The words felt heavily laden, and the air between them crackled with unspoken tension. Sorry I'm late, Rachel mumbled, avoiding eye contact. I didn't sleep well. Neither did I, Alex admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Are we good to talk? Rachel hesitated, fiddling with the hem of her sweater. I've been thinking. She took a deep breath. About what you said yesterday. About Grandma's dreams. I shouldn't have been so focused on the money. I just wanted to make her proud. I thought, if I could be successful, then maybe I'd feel whole. Alex watched Rachel's eyes shimmer with regret, a reflection of her own heartache. But, Rachel, success can't come at the cost of our family. We can't keep using her memory as an excuse to hurt each other. We have to find a way to lift each other up. Rachel nodded, the corners of her lips turning downwards. I thought I was being an adult, you know? Figuring everything out. But here I am, struggling like a kid again. Just then, the waitress stopped by with steaming mugs of coffee, her cheerful demeanor a stark contrast to the heaviness settling in the booth. You girls okay? Need anything else? Her voice seemed loud in the calm. No, thank you, Alex said, a touch of gratitude slipping through her tension. The waitress left, and the quiet returned, thick with the weight of Rachel's swallowing thoughts. Last night, I shouldn't have come at you like that, Rachel said quietly, finally meeting Alex's gaze. It wasn't fair to you. She paused, a tear escaping down her cheek. I didn't want to lose my dreams. Or you or us. Alex reached across the table, her hand covering Rachel's. I don't want to lose you either. We've been so focused on what we think we want that we forgot about what we really need each other. Their hands trembled together, a bridge forming that had been fractured for far too long. But just as they began to rebuild, a sudden realization hit Alex like a cold wave. The note, the unspoken threats between them, everything that was left unsaid, it loomed, larger than either had anticipated. "Rachel," she said slowly, tightening her grip instinctively. "There's still the issue of the note. We need to clear the air about that." Rachel's eyes widened, fear creeping into her expression. "Do you really think we can talk about that right now? I'm scared of what it means for us, for our futures." Alex's heart raced as she realized they were standing at the edge of a precipice once more. Could they face the truth of what lay beneath? Did they have the courage to confront the hidden motives that had driven them apart? "Maybe," Alex whispered. "Maybe it's what we need to do. Maybe it's time to face the truth." But what truth would they uncover? What skeletons lay hidden in their shared past, waiting to disrupt their fragile truce? As Alex reflected on the weight of the moment, a shiver ran down her spine. Suddenly, the diner door swung open, and in walked a figure from their past, someone who could change everything. The bell above the diner door jingled sharply, sending a ripple of tension through the air. Alex and Rachel turned in unison, hearts racing at the sight of a familiar face. It was Evan, Rachel's ex-boyfriend, the one who had left without saying goodbye. He walked in with a confident stride, his presence slicing through their fragile moment like a hot knife through butter. "Evan?" Rachel's voice came out in a squeak, her surprise evident. Alex could see a mixture of confusion and discomfort in her sister's eyes, a sharp flicker of emotions that spoke volumes about their unfinished story. "Hey, Rachel," Evan said, a tight smile spreading across his face. "I didn't think I'd find you here." Silence settled like a heavy blanket on the booth. The waitress returned to fill their mugs, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing. Alex felt a surge of protectiveness for her sister. She could sense the tremors of unresolved feelings washing over Rachel. "Yeah, it's been a while," Rachel managed, her tone cautious, like she was tiptoeing around an exposed wire. Rachel glanced at Alex, seeking reassurance, but Alex couldn't look away from Evan's confident demeanor. "I was in town for a bit and figured I'd stop by," he said, glancing around the diner. "It's good to see you." His eyes shifted to Alex, and he nodded with a friendliness that struck her as forced. "Good to see you too," Alex said, her voice a strange blend of politeness and restraint. 1,000 questions floated in her mind. Why was he back? Did he come to stir up old feelings or confront the ghosts of past decisions? Rachel shifted in her seat, struggling internally. "What are you doing here, really?" she asked finally, forcing herself to meet Evan's gaze. I wanted to talk to you," he replied, his voice lower, a stark contrast to the earlier bravado. "About how things ended." A sigh slipped out of him like an admission of guilt, and Alex noticed how Rachel instinctively recoiled, as if Evan's words were sharp blades aimed at her heart. "Now?" Rachel shot back, an edge creeping into her tone. "This kind of feels like bad timing." "I know this isn't easy," Evan said slowly, his eyes softening. "But I've been thinking about it a lot. I messed up, Rachel. I was scared, and instead of being honest, I walked away." Rachel bit her lip, and tears threatened in the corner of her eyes. In this moment, Alex saw the little girl who used to run after Evan in their backyard, the girl who had dreamed of a future with him. But that was a lifetime ago, buried under the weight of missed opportunities and unfulfilled promises. "Honestly, I don't know if we can go back to what we had," Rachel said, her voice cracking. "You left and I was an idiot," Evan interjected, his voice filled with regret. "But I want to make it right. Can't we at least talk? Please?" The words hung in the air, heavy and electric. Alex felt the churning in her stomach, uneasy about her sister being pulled back into a relationship that had caused so much pain. She squeezed Rachel's hand tighter, anchoring her in this storm. "Rachel," Alex started, but she was cut off. "I just need a moment," Rachel whispered, a plea in her voice that melted Alex's resolve. She let go of Rachel's hand, feeling the distance stretch between them once more. Rachel turned back to Evan, vulnerability written all over her face. "Okay, let us talk. But I'm not promising anything. Just as they began to navigate the rocky terrain of their past, Rachel's phone buzzed on the table, vibrating with urgency. She glanced down, her expression shifting from hope to dread. What's this? Before she could read the message flashing on her screen, a man strode purposefully toward their booth, an air of authority around him. He wore a crisp suit, his face familiar in an uneasy way. "Miss Jameson," he said, his voice steady yet firm. "We need to talk about your account immediately. It's urgent." Rachel froze, the color draining from her face. "My account? What's wrong?" Alex could only watch, heart pounding. The uncovering of secrets was spinning out of control, like a whirlwind threatening to rip apart everything they had just begun to rebuild. Was this the truth they were meant to face today? What lay beneath the surface? A hidden note, a bank account, and now this unexpected visitor. As the man's words echoed through the diner, a new kind of fear descended upon them. This was the moment that could unravel everything. What would Rachel discover now? And at what cost? Rachel's heart raced as the man in the suit stepped closer, his sharp gaze fixed on her. "Miss Jameson," he repeated, his tone unyielding, "we need to address an immediate issue regarding your account. It's crucial." The diner's chatter faded into the background, the hum of voices becoming a distant murmur as Rachel struggled to process the sudden shift in focus. Her eyes darted from the man to Evan, who wore a mask of uncertainty. Alex could only feel her sister's discomfort radiating. "What kind of issue?" Rachel finally managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm afraid there has been some irregular activity," the man replied, glancing at the phone still vibrating on the table. "We need to clarify a few transactions that seem out of the ordinary. They could impact your finances significantly." Rachel shifted, and Alex could see the panic bubble beneath her surface. I haven't done anything wrong," she stammered, but even to her own ears, the words sounded hollow. "You'll need to accompany me to the bank." He didn't sound threatening, but there was a pressure in his voice that made it clear this was not a request. "Wait," Evan interjected, his expression changing as concern flickered across his features. "What do you mean by irregular activity?" "Evan, you need to go," Rachel snapped, irritation mixing with fear as she pushed back against the reality closing in on her. "This isn't your problem." But Evan stepped further into their space, his interest piqued. "No, it definitely is. Rachel deserves answers." The man's gaze sharpened. "This matter is private. I advise you not to interfere." Alex felt the tension building. She could see the storm of conflicting emotions brewing in her sister's eyes. "You don't know what you're talking about. I just need to understand what's going on. Can we even trust him?" Alex suddenly blurted out, the thought rushing to the forefront of her mind. What if this is some kind of scam? The man's demeanor shifted slightly, a hint of annoyance flashing across his face. "Miss Jameson, I assure you, this is a legitimate concern. Your financial health is at stake. It's in your best interest to handle this promptly." Rachel's phone buzzed again, but she didn't look at it. Instead, a quiet desperation bloomed on her face. I can't leave with you. Not now." Not when she trailed off, a flash of uncertainty crossing her features as her mind darted back to Evan and their unfinished conversation. "Rachel," Evan said softly, stepping closer. "You can't just ignore this. It could change everything for you. Trust me, I know about facing scary truths." Tears pooled in Rachel's eyes. "But everything is complicated right now. I don't even know what's real." Alex stepped closer to her sister, hoping to provide some sort of grounding. "Look, let's take a breath. We can figure this out together," she urged. "You don't have to go anywhere right now." But the man fixed her with an unyielding gaze. "Time is of the essence, Miss Jameson. If you don't come with me now, I cannot guarantee that you'll have another chance to address this issue." Tension crackled in the air, thick enough to cut. Rachel glanced at Evan, then back to the man in the suit. The moment teetered on the edge of chaos. Okay, Rachel finally sighed, her voice trembling with resignation. I'll come with you. Just give me a moment. Evan reached out, catching her hand before she could stand. Wait. Don't just. But Rachel met his gaze, a mixture of gratitude and fear swirling in her eyes. I need to do this. As the man turned, ushering Rachel out of the booth with an urgent nod, Alex felt the weight of uncertainty settle like a stone in her stomach. She glanced at Evan, confusion and worry mirrored there. What just happened? He whispered, almost to himself. Alex shook her head, unable to unearth clarity in the confusion. We're losing her and she doesn't even see it, she murmured, grief apparent in her voice. And just like that, as Rachel followed the stranger out of the diner, a new fear blossomed. What if there were deeper secrets lurking beneath the surface of her sister's life, secrets that could change everything for their family? As the door swung shut behind them, leaving Alex and Evan in stunned silence, the phone buzzed again, its screen lighting up with another warning that could reveal even more than Rachel dared to face. Would the truth turn out to be more than they bargained for? Rachel's heart thudded painfully against her ribs as she stepped out into the crisp air, the man in the suit leading her toward a sleek, black car idling at the curb. Each step felt like walking toward an uncertain fate. She risked a glance back at the diner, where Alex and Evan were overshadowed by the chaos of her spiraling thoughts. What's this about? She asked, keeping her voice steady despite the tremor deep within. We'll discuss it at the bank, he replied, his expression inscrutable, an impenetrable wall of professionalism. The car door swung open with a soft thud, and he gestured for her to climb inside. Reluctantly, she slid into the leather seat, her mind racing. The interior smelled of expensive cologne mixed with the faint scent of polished wood, a stark contrast to the chaos swirling in her head. As they drove, Rachel's thoughts spiraled wildly. Was this real? Her fingertips trembled against her phone, which she had turned over in her lap, its screen dark. What if this was all just a misunderstanding? She had always been careful, organized. No one had the right to question her actions. Yet here she was, feeling more vulnerable than ever. Miss Jameson, the man broke through her thoughts. We need to clarify the situation quickly. He turned his head slightly, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. It's important you understand the gravity of these transactions. Can't you just tell me what's going on? She shot back, frustration bubbling beneath her fear. The nature of the transactions indicates a breach that could affect your future. You must comprehend the implications. Rachel felt a chill creep up her spine at the weight of his words. Breach? Implications? The reality of her finances was closing in around her, squeezing the breath from her lungs. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong, but she needed to stay calm. In a tight, silent moment, Rachel's phone buzzed again, a soft vibration against her jeans. Her heart skipped as she reached for it, but hesitated, the man's sharp gaze shifting her way. Please. For once, focus on what's ahead, he said, an edge of impatience in his voice. This is critical. Taking a steadying breath, she forced herself to look out the window as they passed by familiar city streets. But nothing felt familiar now. Inside her mind, alarms blared. What if her life was unraveling without her even realizing it? What if she couldn't trust her own choices? Thoughts collided, painting pictures of betrayal and hidden enemies lurking just beyond her vision. The car finally slowed, and Rachel felt the abrupt stop jolt her to the present. They had arrived at the bank, the grand building looming like a fortress. The man stepped out first, holding the door open for her with an unsettling formality. As Rachel exited, a wave of patrons bustled past her, each absorbed in their day. For a moment, she felt invisible, like she was standing at the edge of a world that didn't want her. Fear coursed through her, gnawing at the edges of her resolve. Miss Jameson, follow me, the man instructed, leading her through the glass doors, the chill of the air conditioning causing her to shiver. Inside, the polished marble floors reflected harsh fluorescent lights, illuminating faces that looked both friendly and indifferent. Her stomach dropped as the reality hit her. This was more serious than she'd anticipated, and yet she had no idea what was coming. Suddenly, an idea struck her. What if she could turn this around? What if she could find a way to uncover the truth about that irregular activity before it consumed her? As her pulse quickened, Rachel felt a renewed fire ignite in her chest. She wasn't giving up without a fight. She would uncover what lurked beneath the surface, no matter the cost. But as they stepped further into the bank's depths, an uneasy question lingered in her mind. What would she discover next? Would it confirm her worst fears, or reveal something she never expected? The truth was waiting, and she was about to confront it head-on. The man in the suit led Rachel deeper into the bank, each step echoing against the cold marble floor, amplifying her dread. She could feel her heart racing harder as they approached a glass-walled conference room where a small group awaited 3 people in suits, their expressions a mix of concern and annoyance. "Rachel," the man said, gesturing for her to sit at the long table. "I need you to focus." She sank into the plush chair, her skin prickling with anxiety. "What is this about?" Her voice came out softer than she intended, the words barely escaping her lips. "Let's get straight to it." One of the suits, a woman with short brown hair and sharp glasses, leaned in. "We've been monitoring irregularities in your account, and it's imperative we address them immediately." "I've been managing my finances carefully," Rachel protested, instinctively defending herself. The woman held up a hand, halting her train of thought. "This isn't about your financial management, Rachel. We've discovered transactions that suggest unauthorized access to your accounts." Rachel's blood ran cold. Unauthorized access? Her fingers clenched tightly against the edge of the table. "What do you mean?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "The nature of these transactions raises concerns, specifically linked to your sister, Amanda," another man interjected, his voice low but firm. His expression told her more than his words. This was serious. "Are you saying she's stolen from me?" Rachel's heart raced, the very thought sending waves of betrayal crashing through her. "Yes. Evidence points to her manipulation of your accounts." The woman's steel gaze met Rachel's, unyielding. "We need your cooperation to resolve this." Rachel's mind reeled. Amanda? Her sister? The one person she had trusted unconditionally? The weight of the accusation hung in the air, suffocating. Images of late-night talks, shared dreams, and their childhood flooded her thoughts, each memory now tainted. "But why?" Rachel's voice faltered. "I don't understand. Why would she do this?" "Greed often leads people to unexpected places," the woman said, shaking her head as if Rachel's disbelief was naive. "This involves money that isn't just a few bucks. We're talking thousands that you could lose permanently." Rachel's pulse quickened, an overwhelming rush of anger and betrayal rising within her. "This can't be happening. Amanda wouldn't. She wouldn't." The man shifted in his seat, his expression softening slightly. "You need to take a closer look at your transactions. We're here to help, but you must be willing to confront this." With trembling hands, Rachel fished her phone from her pocket, her heart hammering in her chest as she navigated to her banking app. She scanned the recent transactions, fingers sliding over numbers and names that started to tell a story she didn't want to hear. Her eyes caught one particular transfer, a large sum moved to an unfamiliar account early last month. A wave of nausea threatened to pull her under. "Oh my God!" The realization hit her like a slap. Rachel glanced up, eyes narrowing. "If she's done this to me, it's not just about money. It's personal." Anger ignited within her, a fierce urge to protect what was rightfully hers. The woman nodded, understanding her determination. "You have to act quickly, Rachel. If this escalates, it'll be hard to recover." "Why should I trust you?" she asked, desperation creeping into her voice. "What if this is a setup? Because we want to help you reclaim your life, the woman replied. You need to decide. Do you want to confront her? Torn between disbelief and a growing resolve, Rachel leaned back in her chair. It was time to choose her path. Where do I even start? She whispered, her heart pounding in her ears. First, gather all the information you can, the man instructed. Then we can prepare for what's next. You may need to confront your sister. Rachel's mind raced. The confrontation was inevitable, and she would have to steel herself for the fallout. As she left the conference room, Rachel felt a shift within her, a determination that had long been dormant. She would face Amanda, come what may. Trust, once a bedrock of their relationship, was now shattered. The truth was lurking just beneath the surface, and she was ready to pull it up no matter how painful that might be, but what awaited her when she confronted Amanda? The hour of reckoning was approaching, and Rachel couldn't shake the feeling that her sister's response would change everything. Rachel stepped out of the bank, her breath coming in short gasps. The cool air felt foreign against her flushed skin, and panic set in as she recalled the words of the suited woman. It wasn't just about money, it was about betrayal, about the one person she thought would never hurt her. She glanced down at her phone, the banking app glowing in the dim light. Could Amanda really have done this? It felt surreal. Rachel quickly turned away from the bank, needing to escape the sterile environment. She walked aimlessly, each step heavy. How would she even approach Amanda? As she made her way to her car, her mind raced with the implications. What had Amanda been doing behind her back? Had she really stolen from her sister? The thought twisted her stomach in knots. Rachel could feel anger and confusion boiling within her. At home, she tossed her bag onto the couch and paced. Every corner of the living room held memories, childhood laughter, secrets shared over popcorn, and late-night heart-to-hearts. The walls seemed to close in, echoing with the hollow laughter of their shared past. She had to talk to Amanda. It was the only way. 30 minutes later, Rachel's phone buzzed. It was a message from Amanda. Hey. Can we talk? I miss you. Rachel's heart dropped. How could she reply? If only Amanda knew the storm brewing in Rachel's heart and mind. Rachel took a deep breath before typing, "We need to talk, Amanda. Can you come over?" Her finger hovered over the send button, fear knotting her stomach. Would Amanda feel the tension through the screen? Would she even know what was coming? A few moments later, Amanda replied, "Of course. Be there soon." Rachel felt a mix of dread and resolve. She knew she had to confront her, but the fear of losing her sister, of the truth shattering everything they had built, lingered heavily in the air. She felt her heart hammering in her chest as she thought about the conversation ahead. What if Amanda denied everything? What if she had an explanation that made sense? What if Rachel's accusations drove a wedge between them forever? A muffled knock at the door broke her trail of thoughts. It was Amanda. "Hey. I brought snacks," Amanda said cheerfully as she stepped inside, the light catching her hair and making it shine. Rachel forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thank you," she managed, her voice shaky. "What's up?" "You sound weird," Amanda said, tilting her head with worry. "Can we sit down?" Rachel asked, her stomach churning with the weight of everything she needed to say. "Sure. Everything okay?" Amanda's eyes narrowed, sensing the tension as they settled onto the couch. Rachel felt the familiar comfort of her sister's presence, but it was overshadowed by the impending confrontation. She needed to be strong. "Amanda," Rachel began, her voice cracking. "I found something out today. Something about money, your actions." Amanda looked taken aback, confusion crossing her face. "What do you mean?" "Your manipulation of my accounts," Rachel whispered, feeling her heart shatter with each word. A silence enveloped them. Amanda's expression shifted, uncertainty clouding her features. "What are you talking about?" Rachel took a deep breath, bracing herself. The moment of truth had arrived. I know you've been taking money from me. Amanda's eyes widened. What? That isn't true. The denial was swift, like daggers aimed straight at Rachel's heart. But she couldn't back down now. She had come too far. I saw the transactions they point to you. The atmosphere crackled with tension, each second stretching longer than the last. Would Rachel find the truth buried deep within her sister, or was this the moment the fragile bond between them would fracture beyond repair? As Rachel's mind spun with uncertainty, she couldn't help but wonder if she was ready for whatever answer Amanda might give. Rachel's voice shook with a mix of fury and desperation. You think I want to believe it? I've known you my whole life, Amanda. How could you do this to me? To us? The weight of her accusation hung heavily, the silence stretching taut like a bowstring ready to snap. Amanda, still taken aback, blinked rapidly while attempting to process Rachel's words. I don't understand. You must be mistaken. I would never do that. The desperation in her voice was palpable, but so was the joylessness that wrapped itself around Rachel's heart like a vice. No, Rachel replied, shaking her head. The bank wouldn't lie about this. They're not making this up. It's real, Amanda. Money moving out of my account, your name attached to it. Amanda's face paled, and dread washed over her like a cold wave. The bright smile that greeted Rachel moments ago faded, revealing a fissure in their once unbreakable bond. You have to believe me. I wouldn't just steal from you. I mean, we're sisters. Family. The words tumbled from her lips, panic mixing with defiance. Yeah, family. Rachel echoed, her voice rising. That's exactly why this hurts so much. You're not just some stranger out to get me. You're my sister, and this betrayal, it cuts deeper. Tears blurred Rachel's vision. Memories of laughter-filled moments flooded her mind, playing games, sharing secrets, standing together against the world. But they all felt tainted now. She refused to let the bitterness engulf her completely. This has to be about more than money. It's a question of trust, of love. You've put everything we are in jeopardy. Amanda's face twisted in turmoil. I know. But please, just let me explain. There are things in my life that are weighing me down. I thought if I could just take a little, it would help me get back on my feet, back on your feet. Rachel interrupted, incredulous. By stealing from your own sister? You should have talked to me. I would have helped. We could have figured this out together. A heavy silence descended again, the weight of unspoken truth settling around them. Rachel, I was desperate, Amanda finally whispered, her voice breaking. I'm struggling with my own bills, my own problems. I thought this was my only shot. By betraying me? Rachel's heart ached, not just from anger, but from the shared burdens that they each carried, even if they were expressed differently. The tears that fell from Amanda's eyes reflected her regret, but they were also tinted with fear. Rachel took a deep breath, her anger morphing into sadness. You don't have to do this alone. We can help each other. But we need to talk. We need to face this together, to rebuild trust. Amanda's chin quivered as she wiped her eyes, desperation making her plead. I'm sorry. I didn't think. I just didn't want to drown in my own mess. You've always been the strong one, and I wanted to feel strong like you. A flicker of understanding ignited in Rachel's heart. They had both been burdened, but had faced it in different ways, one with heart and the other with fear. We can work this out. You can find strength by admitting you need help, just like I have. The only way out is through honesty, Amanda. Brothers and sisters lift each other up, not tear each other down. Rachel watched as comprehension dawned on Amanda's face. You're right, she said, her voice now softer, breaking. I messed up, and I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try. I need you to try to understand that it's okay to struggle, Amanda, Rachel said gently. But don't allow it to alienate you from family. As they sat on the edge of the precipice they de-built themselves, Rachel reached across the space that had widened in their hearts. This time, their hands touched, bridging the distance. In that moment, they could choose to heal rather than to divide, to listen instead of fighting, to stand together as sisters and reclaim what they lost. Let us figure this out together, Rachel whispered. We can face it as a family. Tears streamed down both of their faces, but this time, they were tears of cathartic release, not of anger or betrayal. And as they sat together, hand in hand, they began to see a path emerging through the storm of pain. They envisioned a future patched together, like a quilt sewn from their shared memories, mistakes, and love. It wouldn't magically erase the burden of the past, but it could become a new beginning, stitched together through forgiveness and understanding. In that quiet moment of resolution, both sisters experienced a profound transformation. Nothing had returned to the way it once was, but a new bond was woven that would bind them even closer. They were learning to speak honestly, listen compassionately, and offer support freely. As they left the past behind, the faded threads were now vibrant and ready to face the future, and with that renewed promise, Rachel felt a rush of hope. Sometimes family bonds are tested through displacement and turmoil, but they can also be strengthened through the fire of understanding. Now, she felt ready to embrace whatever life threw their way. Before they left, Rachel sent a quick message to the banker about her account. Confrontations awaited, but together, they would stand strong. The leaves outside danced in the autumn breeze, just like their hearts, now lighter and ready to embrace the new challenges ahead. Facing life and each other was no longer something to fear, it was a chance to grow, evolve, and love like never before. As they stepped out into the world, hand in hand, they turned a page toward a brighter future, one that wouldn't be defined by their past but would be forged in the bonds of love, hope, and a deep-seated understanding of shared journeys. This was only the beginning, now it's your turn to act. Subscribe immediately to the channel if you want to catch the next exclusive stories that change lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this amazing series going. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending the journey of Alex and Rachel isn't over, and I want to hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see these powerful transformations. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us keep this community growing.